On this video, I want us to talk about Christian maturity and Christian maturity within the light of something. A few months back, there was a whole thing, about 2 months back, there was a documentary that came out, BBC documentary, forecasting TB Joshua's whole thing and ministry, so to say. And after that, people started speculating like what would happen to these people. Like, oh my goodness, their life will be ruined. Touch not my anointed, all that whole entire pictures. And so I saw a recent post of a trailer showcasing that Sihle has been given a gig with Moja Love. This gig was actually, they started shooting this gig. I want to be very clear on that. Last year, they started shooting this way before the BBC documentary. And so she's on this show, or she's going to be host of this show called Fake Marriages and stuff like that. And so I'm guessing it's like marriages for payment, for citizenship, and all those kind of stuff. And so she is the host of that particular show on Moja Love. Okay, congratulations. Looks like a great gig indeed. And so I wanted to talk about that in light of how do we reflect on our lives with things that happen around us. So we're not talking about the BBC documentary. Don't start talking about that. If you start talking about that, it shows that you are not able to have a conversation outside of your shell, a cocoon, like you've created a small little shell around you that agrees with you. And so you can't have a conversation outside of that. And so there are things that come in your life. How do you communicate? How do you navigate around those particular section of life or things that happen around you in your life? So when people saw their mentors spoken about and so forth, in the light of how it came out, they started with the whole touch not my anointed. And they did that because for them, it reflected a certain image, or it showed, there is consequences, or if things went bad, it was consequences for things that other people have done that they didn't agree with to begin with. Why am I saying, are we maturing? You see, if you have this type of a thinking, it will hinder you in personal areas in your life. First area, it will hinder you. You will never have forgiveness. I'm not talking about the BBC. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about you. In your personal life, you will never have forgiveness because you feel like, you see, what it allows you to do, touch not my anointed. What it allows you to do, it allows you to hold on to grudges with people and never be forgiving. Because you are the anointed, right? Nobody should touch you. Nobody should question you, even though you are in the wrong. It's teaching you bad theology. It's teaching you bad morals. It's teaching you ungodly morals. It's teaching you how to be an unforgiving Christian. In the name of God will judge. No, it's not God. It's your anger. You are a baby who does not understand. We should call things as they are. And you are still stuck in the place of you can call things that are not. No, let's call things that are. You are an unforgiving Christian, not maturing, not growing, not going anywhere, thinking you have the mind of God, but you have a mind of an unbeliever. You hold grudges in the name of you are the anointed one. You are an unbeliever. You don't believe in justice. You don't believe in forgiveness. Yeah, no, you see, it's all up. It's about you. That particular line of thought. It's actually about. It's a reflection on yourself. That's how you think in your personal life. That's how you think people. You see, I remember seeing this comedian's video. Zoe showcases a relationship that was going fine, and basically he has this girlfriend. He makes promises to the girlfriend and stuff, and the girlfriend dumps him for a guy who's doing well in life or a person who was doing better, and basically he then expects that bad things will happen to the person after she leaves him, and later on, or basically the idea was that, if a person does bad to you, later on bad things will happen to them and good things will happen to you. And then he showcases this thing, a point where he says, it says 10 years later in the video. And then he shows 10 years later, that particular young man, his life hadn't really advanced. Things hadn't gotten better. And the person whom he was expecting bad things to happen to, because, something bad had happened to him because of this person, things will go bad for them. And things had not gotten bad for them. Things had not gotten bad for the girl that things that had left him. And so the idea of the video was showcasing this idea that because you think bad things will happen to thing. I want that particular ending there. There he says it's not everybody that leaves you that will have a bad ending. It's not every single uh, bad choice that was made against you that will have a bad result. Now, not that God won't judge it, God will judge it, but that thinking allows you to hold a grudge. It allows you to hold on to unforgiveness. That's the thing I'm pointing out here. Because some people have allowed themselves to be heartless. Some people have allowed themselves to be heartless in the name of touch not my anointed. Because they think bad will happen to the other person, or they are waiting. Not that they think, they are waiting. Like there are people, because I make all these videos critiquing certain pastors, they are waiting for the day bad things are going to happen to Ricky. They don't realize it actually speaks something about their maturity. You are an unmaturing individual. You are the guy with the one talent who was given the talent and he buried it into the sand because he expects. You see, this particular perspective or viewpoint of expecting bad things to happen to other people is because you are not growing, you are not maturing, because that's who you are. You're an unmaturing Christian. Because in the light of your life, there isn't forgiveness. And forgiveness is not ignorance. Let's not get that twisted. Forgiveness is not ignorance. No, they cannot be caught being repentant. They would rather have everybody look bad than be repentant. Wait a minute. How dare Arume Osai say that people, he's not, no lady can come out and speak about him anyhow. No, how dare he? So they would rather have an image painted on him. They don't sit and think. That's a very motivating viewpoint for a Christian leader to have. It sets a good standard. It sets a good standard. No, to them, because they know they have dodgy man skeletons. So what they would rather is lower the standard. Let's lower the standard. We can't have a person come and say that. Because those people, that's who they are. That's who they are. They are not maturing. They are not growing. Nothing. If they were Christian. But hey, talking about dodgy man people here. Okay? And so, I think we are having a conversation about us. You see? That's why you see something like that. And then you keep waiting on the downfall. When is the downfall coming? When is the downfall of people that spoke bad about my so-called spiritual father? When is the downfall? Why? Because that's who you are. You are an unforgiving. And you wonder why there's a parable of the wicked servant. You've seen that parable, right? Part of the wicked servant, Matthew chapter number 18, verse 21 up until 35. There is such a thing. A person who is a believer, but wicked. Why? There is no perception of justice in them. There is no perception of uprightness with them. There is no perception of wrong, right. Just a spiritual father and whatever they teach over there. To them, whatever they say is right is right. Whatever they don't agree with, they don't agree with. That person does not uphold right because of what God says. They uphold right because of what their pastor says. This particular story so that we watch over ourselves. Because, At the same time, when people, when we are out there and we allow ourselves to think, when is the downfall? So when people seemingly have a life that's, it's their life, God has patterned for them to walk that particular life. We are still waiting. We are still waiting. And don't realize that we have set ourselves up because we don't see that we have fashioned God in our head. We are not thinking about God as He puts Himself. God says He provides food for the wicked and for the righteous, not just for the righteous. But you are waiting for the downfall. You see videos, the downfall of those who were in the BBC documentary. They have such a thinking. Why? That's who they are, unforgiving, wicked, as a matter of fact. You must outgrow that. Derek Reality Show Daily Christian Commentary videos. If it's your first time over here, be sure to check out the other videos around it. Down in the pin comments, and I'm going to check you out on it later on. I thought this video was worth our time. Let's think about it. Let's have our chat, and I'll see you on the later one episode.